Well, listen, it might be mid-year for high schoolers, but our next guest is here with a roadmap for success as families try to navigate college and testing, which is coming up for just about everybody. So let's welcome the founder of the Enrichery, Sarah Seitz, is joining us this morning. Good to see you, Sarah. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
So let's kind of go year by year, right, and give some tips for parents or students who are paying attention right now as far as the best way to get themselves ready for testing or ready for college. So we'll start with the freshmen and the sophomores out there. What should they be doing this time of year?
Sure. So for our freshmen and our sophomores, the most important things are academic foundations and readiness, and also those extracurricular explorations. So it's really important for our kids to start really building those academic skills and really understanding where their strengths are and maybe where they need some extra support too. In terms of the extracurricular activities, I love to see when kids are really getting in deep into a couple meaningful activities, not spreading themselves out too thin because that can make things a little bit crazy for them, but really getting in deep and understanding what their passions are. So it's a great time for that kind of exploration.
What their passions are, and we're also building the resume basically for the students
Absolutely.
at this point as they get closer to worrying about college, which for the freshmen and the sophomores is still a couple years away.
Yes.
For the juniors, though, it's time to start focusing a little bit more on what they want to do. Where should they be right now?
Sure. So junior year, we're definitely kicking up the intensity a little bit when it comes to college admissions. So we've got things like SAT and ACT testing. We have college visits coming down the pipeline. Certainly their academics are so important that junior year. And then they're actually looking at the application and the essay process their summer before senior year. So there's a lot kind of coming at them during junior year for sure.
Is there anything that juniors can do now to kind of get ready for the senior year? You know, because like you said, you're worried about the testing. The year is important academically, but that's also a lot of stress, right? So is there anything that juniors can do now to make sure that they're a step ahead so that they don't have to worry about everything senior year?
You know, that's a great point, and I think this process can seem very stressful and overwhelming, but truly it is never too late to get a plan in place and really understand the priorities and the timeline. I think that really just, it helps families kind of feel a little bit more in control of the process. So that junior year, when you're looking at testing, understand that that is about a 6-month process. Typically at the Enrichery, our students are prepping for 4 months before their first target test date, and then prepping again for our second test. So when all is said and done, we're at about 6 months at that point. So I think just understanding how long things take can really help people feel ahead of the 8 ball.
You recommend doing the testing as soon as possible, just so that you have multiple tests that you can take if you need to?
I do like to have kids start testing that junior year pretty quickly, just so that they understand where they are in terms of, you know, how their scores are looking, so that they can build a good college list towards the end of junior year.
All right. It is December. It's almost January for seniors. We only have a couple months left. It's kind of crunch time. So and I know this comes back to the stress of feeling like you don't have everything done, but realistically, where should you be? What can you still do between now and the end of the school year?
So for our seniors, most of our kids are in that decision season and not in the panic season at this point. Those early action and early decision deadlines have passed. Our regular decision deadlines are coming up here in about 2 days or in the next couple of weeks for, you know, depending on the university. But for those kids, the important thing right now is just to make sure that they're staying on top of any communication from the colleges and staying informed.
So you work with students all the time. The stress like hits home when it's the kids in there, whether it's the peer pressure, the family pressure, or their pressure they're putting on themselves to get into a certain school or to get into a school, right? How do you get them to relax when it comes to the test, to focus without being overstressed?
You know, that's a good question, and every child is different, but really having that practice, I think, is fundamental to feeling confident on test day. So for our program in particular, our students are taking a mock test every month. So by the time they get to that final test day, it's not a surprise. They know what's on the test, and they can feel confident.
Right, that's great advice. The more you do it, the more you practice, the
exactly,
better
just like anything.
You are, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Sarah, thank you for coming in. You can find out more information on the Enrichery online, and Sarah Seitz, there's the website right there if you want to check it out or follow them on social media. Sarah, thanks very much, and Happy New Year to you.
Thanks so much.